We have this nervous system wiring combined with this cultural lie that women should be doing everything, especially in the summer. And trying to work in the summer and parent simultaneously keeps your nervous system in constant stress mode. It's so important for you to have a game plan going into summer. So, successful moms, we do not talk enough about summertime. The swirliness of summertime, the chaos of summertime, when all of a sudden your kids are all home all day, every day, and you're like trying to run your business simultaneously. I have cracked the code on summering well, and it actually took me years to do it. And so this episode today is going to be all about how to summer well. I'm going to give you some really tangible, tactical tips. I'm going to talk to you about some belief things that you might need to confront as you go into summer. Summer is quickly approaching, and I want you to feel at the end of summer like you really loved it. I've really cracked the code. Last summer was the first summer that I've probably ever had where 2 weeks before school started, I was not begging for school to start. I actually was like, oh, I'm kind of sad that we only have 2 weeks of summer left, because I truly figured out how to summer well, and this episode is going to be all about that. And the good news for you is that we actually have a free guide. The link is in the description. It is Summer Without Chaos, and it is a full working mom's game plan. So if you are a business owner, if you are a working mom, if you're trying to figure out how to piece together camps and childcare and babysitters and all the things, this episode is for you, okay? So I have to start this episode with releasing the belief that you have to do it all, okay? I think that when you become a business owner, a lot of times you're thinking in your head like, oh, now I'm going to get to be so present for my kids all summer because I make the rules now. Like, I make the rules as the business owner so I can be there for them. And absolutely, I think there is a time in the future where I will set my business up in a way where summers are so much more free and it looks that way. But when you're in building mode, when you're in growing mode, scale mode, you still need to work for those 10, 11 weeks that your kids are home from school. And when you're used to having your kids in school, 6, 7 hours a day, and you have that time and all of a sudden that time gets taken away from you, it can be easy to be like, okay, well, the summer's just gonna have to look different. I'm only gonna be able to work 3 hours or 2 hours, and then I have to be with my kids, or I'm gonna work in the nooks and crannies, or I'm gonna piece together childcare, or I'm gonna piece together camps. Oh my gosh, y'all, I think it was 2, maybe 3 summers ago, I was like, I'm just going to have them in camps like every single day. And while my kids are in camps, the 3 older kids, I'll take Hughes to the gym and I'll use gym childcare while they're at camp. And so that'll be like my childcare where like the 3 are in camps, Hughes is at gym childcare, then he goes to town for a nap. The amount of time I spent carpooling to the 3 different camps, then getting to the gym, I would literally have like an hour and a half to work. Then it would be having to pick up. Oh, one gets done at 10, one gets done at 11, one gets done at 12. Hughes is meanwhile screaming in the back of the car because he wants to get out of the car seat. And I remember 2 summers in a row specifically getting to mid-July and being like, I cannot believe I have to do this for another month. I was like pulling my hair out. And so I think it's so important for you to have a game plan going into summer. And we're going to talk all about that. But there's a lot of pressure because we have this nervous system wiring combined with this cultural lie that women should be doing everything, especially in the summer. And trying to work in the summer and parent simultaneously keeps your nervous system in constant stress mode. You're half working, half parenting. You're feeling fully depleted. But when you create a dedicated work time with support, whether that's childcare or family help or whatever it is, something powerful happens. It's like you actually get focused work time and you finish what needs to get done. So then you actually can be present for your kids, to take them to the pool in the afternoon or whatever. So the real problem with summer, and the reason that I for years did not summer well as a family, was that I constantly was working in like random corners of the house while my kids were doing like, honestly, who knows what they were doing. And because I have 4 of them, it basically was like they're just living on screens. They literally were just living on screens. I'm like, get whatever snack you want, fix yourself lunch. I remember 2 summers ago, they barely even ate lunch. I would make them breakfast, but once I got in work mode, I would like try not to get out of work mode. I don't even know what they ate for lunch. Maybe they didn't even eat lunch all summer. And then they would just eat snacks all day. And then finally they would eat at dinner. And I was always constantly left wondering, it's like, I need to hire help, but then it's going to cost more money. And like, maybe I should just be present with them during the day and I can just work nights. I tried to squeeze as much as I could into nap time, but I ended up just accepting the chaos and literally counting down the days until school started again. And that is just like not the way that I want to live my summer life. I want to feel like I actually got to be with my kids and we got to do fun things and I felt good about it. And so last summer, I decided that I was not going to survive summer anymore. And I was just going to like get over myself and I was going to hire the nanny. I was going to hire the full-time nanny. And so I really want to talk to you all in this episode about the 3 things that changed everything and kind of dive into really some tactical, like tangible things that y'all can implement this summer. So step 1 is hiring summer help. Okay. Hire the summer help. It took me so many summers to just hire the nanny and really hire a nanny with the intention that like they are literally taking over. Like they are stepping in as wife, as mom while you are not there. Okay. I remember being like, oh, I'll just drop Henry off in the morning on to camp so you don't have to load all the kids in the car and go. But then that left me being like not being able to do what I needed to do in the morning because I was like waiting to bring him to camp at a certain time. And so this past summer, I truly let her take the reins fully. She had a car seat in her car all summer. She had, like everything she needed to take all 4 kids with her wherever she went so that she was fully in charge of them. And it really gave me like full agency to do what I needed to do. She was there for about 30 hours a week. So about 6 hours a day. She would come around 8 in the morning. She would leave around 2 in the afternoon. And that help, really communicating ahead of time, like the kind of help that I needed. And maybe this doesn't look like 30 hours a week for you. Maybe you do have a business where you can truly work 3-4 hours a day and that's all you need. Maybe camp does work for you. For me, camp doesn't really work because Hughes is only 3 and I can't put him in a camp. So paying for my other 3 kids to do camp and then still having to pay for childcare for him that doesn't really work for me. So I literally like treated my nanny as camp. I was like, she's camp. Like we're not going to camps. She's the camp. She takes them to do a fun activity pretty much every single morning. I'm going to get into that and what the schedule kind of looked like. But I think the key is evaluating the time that you think you need and just hiring for it. Like just hire for it. And you need like predictable help, not random scrambling, because there have been summers in the past where every week I was like on Sunday, okay, when are my calls for this week? And I would text like my list of 5 sitters trying to figure out who could fill in. Okay, you can come 2 hours this day. You can come for 3 hours this morning. The mental Tetris that required just on a weekly basis to make sure my bases were covered, that left me drained at the end of the summer. And it's like, yes, I had help for those couple hours during a call, but then the other time I was on mom mode and I didn't get a chance to recover from the calls or work on anything else outside of client calls. And so really having like full support was just, it was so amazing. And that doesn't mean that I'm not here. Like she would usually take the kids to do an activity and get back around lunchtime. Like typically I was here around lunchtime. The kids could come tell me hi. They could come, as if I wasn't on a call, like I would still talk to them. I would go in the kitchen and make my lunch while she was making their lunch. It's just that I could truly be worried about me and not worried about what I needed to be doing for them. Okay. So this could look like so many things. This could look like a sitter 2 or 3 mornings a week. This could look like, a teenager that comes and helps you, like a mother's helper that helps you with your kids while you're working in the home, like where, you don't really maybe want to leave the house with them here, but like they are entertaining your kids. This could be like just hiring, a sitter that comes every Monday, Tuesday. And like that is who you have all summer. Okay. So ask yourself, when do I actually need the focused work time? Like when do you actually need focused work time? What days of the week are your most important work days? How many hours of childcare on a weekly basis would remove the stress? And like also think about how the babysitter costs money, yes, but it allows you to free up your time as the business owner to go and then make money. Because I was actually able to focus on creating revenue and doing revenue generating activities to be able to make more money in the business without worrying about what I needed to be doing for them, right? So look for college students, look for teachers that are home for the summer. This is a big one. My Mother's Day Out that Hughes goes to, a lot of those teachers try to get nanny jobs in the summer because they're not working. I have found tons of luck posting in neighborhood Facebook groups. That's where I found my nanny for last summer and this summer. And make sure you set expectations ahead of time, because I have had babysitters who have come and helped me in the summer, who make my kids lunch and then leave all the lunch on the counter all day until 5 o'clock whenever I'm done working. I've had babysitters who take out a million toys and Play-Doh and paint and leave it all out. And so very much setting expectations that you need them to do household tasks while they're here. I have my sitters help with cleaning up dishes, running dishwasher. They will run a load of laundry. They will facilitate chores with my kids because I have two older boys who absolutely are capable of putting their own clothes away and making sure that actually happens, like facilitating it, standing over their shoulder and being like, Camden, put up your shirts or put up your pajamas or whatever. So facilitating chores, and I kind of give them a daily routine for like what I want them to be working on so that when I get done working in the afternoon at 3 o'clock and I'm ready to take the kids to the pool or something, the house doesn't look like a bomb went off. So making sure that expectation is set at the beginning and even being willing to pay a little bit more hourly so that happens. I pay a set weekly rate because the hours kind of vary and I don't want to have to think about how many hours am I paying them for this week. So I tell them it's roughly 30 hours. It could be 32. It could be 28. I pay you this much per week. That's a set amount. And then I'll also give them gas money because they typically are taking my kids to activities and whatnot. So that's actually the second thing that I want to share with y'all is planning activities in advance. Because while it can be super helpful to have a babysitter when your kids are in your house all day with a babysitter and you're trying to work from home, that can be a challenge in and of itself. So what I tried to do was schedule all of my calls between that like 9 to 1 p.m. time frame, and that is when she takes the kids out of the house to get them out of here so it can be quiet, which is truly one of the best things, to be able to have just 3 to 4 hours of quiet each day where I can get my deep work or my calls done. So I want to give y'all some examples of some ideas that they can take your kids to do. So our movie theater does like a summer movie. We actually have 2 different theaters that do this where they play old movies like Madagascar and like all the animated movies. And the tickets are like $1.75 or like $2.50 or something like that. So once a week, they would plan to do that. The movie was at 10 a.m. So she would leave the house at 9 and let the kids run around outside at the movie theater because they have like a little area that you can play outside next to it. They would run around, they would go run to the gas station, pick up, candy, snacks, whatever. So they weren't spending tons of money at the movie theater. And I would buy those tickets every week. And I think for 6 of them, I think the tickets were like $20 a week. So every week they would do the movie one day, especially if there was a day where it was rainy. That would be the activity they picked. The public library. My kids love to go to the public library. So she would take them to the library pretty much like I would say every other week they did that. I added her to my gym membership for the summer. We go to Lifetime. Our gym membership allows you to add like a caregiver that only can use the gym membership if she has the kids with her. And I want to say it was $60 a month. So I literally just put her on the membership for June and July so she could take the kids to the gym pool. If they went to the gym pool, they would pack lunch, they would pack snacks, and they would eat lunch there with the lunch that they packed that morning before they left the house. We have 2 pools in our neighborhood. So she would take them to a neighborhood pool one day. There's also a splash pad she would take them to. She would take them to the park, more so in June before it got too hot. She would take them to the park in the morning. I bought a trampoline pass where the park, the trampoline place that has the all the trampolines. I did the monthly pass there, which I think that was like $60 a month to add all my kids and her to the membership. So they would do that one morning a week. They would go to the grocery store and do a cooking project where they would buy ingredients to cook something special for lunch. They went on bike rides, neighborhood walks, but they did some type of activity Monday through Friday from around 9 to 12, between 12 and 1, where they would get home for lunch. And having them out of the house, it also keeps them off of screens. It also keeps fighting down. It also makes them being home in the afternoon not boring because they haven't been home all day. And it doesn't cost a ton of extra money. I mean, we're talking $20 a week for the movie, $60 a month for the trampoline pass, $60 a month for the gym pass. But they really ate lunch at home for the most part every day. So ask yourself, like, what activities do my kids actually enjoy? What is something that's like a free activity or low effort that she could take them to do? What membership would make summer easier on her? And so buy 1 or 2 summer memberships. If you have like a zoo or movie theater pass, trampoline park, something like this, make a list of 8 to 10 activity ideas and just rotate. Now, yes, by the end of July, my kids were like, we do not want to go to the trampoline park again. And I was like, well, guys, summer's only 2 more weeks. You got 2 more trampoline park days to use. And so they obviously found things that they liked doing more. They loved the movie theater. That was probably their favorite thing they could do. So they did that every single week all summer. And then also creating a loose daily rhythm. I didn't want my kids to be super overly structured because it's summer after all, and I don't want them to feel like so like tightly scheduled. But I did have kind of a loose daily rhythm, which I think helped so much in the summertime. So it was really flexible, but it was predictable. They would do morning chores. They would, I would cook breakfast. She would get there. They would clean up breakfast. They would do their morning chores. They would all get dressed, all brush teeth, all, fix hair, like just like getting ready for the day. I feel like that's really important for them to stay in that rhythm. And they would pack up. They would pack all their snacks. They would pack, whatever they needed for the pool. And they would leave typically around 9 a.m. to go do whatever activity for the day that they were going to do. Then they would come home for lunch, or if they were packing their lunch to eat at the pool or something, they would eat lunch there. They would get home between 12 and 1, eat lunch, and then every day at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, between 1 and 2, she would put the baby down for a nap. Hughes, which he was, 2, just turning 3 last summer. We'll see if nap time happens this summer. He's still napping after school right now, so I'm crossing my fingers. But she would put him down for a nap, and the other 3 kids had to do quiet time. Starting at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock, they had to do quiet time every single day. They could read a book, they could play Legos, but they had to be individually by themselves. They had to be quiet, no screens. And then my sitter would leave right after that. She would put Hughes down for a nap. They would start their quiet time. It would give me an extra hour of work between 2 and 3, or to do whatever I needed to do. She would leave, and then at 3 o'clock, their quiet time would be over, and that is when they would get access to screens. My kids do no screens, not even when they wake up in the morning, no cartoons first when they wake up in the morning in summer. I try to keep them off screens until 3 p.m. every day. And then at 3 p.m. they get access to screens, and I would let them watch TV or, whatever. They wouldn't do video games. We only do video games or iPads on the weekends. But Monday through Friday, they could watch TV starting at 3 p.m. And then at 4, I would take them to the pool or something. And normally we would be at the pool until my husband got home from work. And so having that every day, they knew they had to do quiet time. Did they complain? Yes. Do I care? No. They had lunch at a certain time every day. They did an activity in the morning. They had an afternoon with me every day. They did morning chores every morning. The structure made the day feel calmer for everyone. Make this how it works for you. If you have a baby that naps in the morning, maybe you have to change this up, change it around a little bit. Maybe the activities later in the day and the naps in the beginning of the day. But look at your calendar, what works best for the structure of your day and your life and your kids' ages. Build rhythm around the nap time, around quiet time. Your kids are probably not going to want to do it. Honestly, Amelia was the one that complained the most about quiet time, but she needed it. They needed that. They'd been stimulated at a movie or a swimming pool or a trampoline park activity, lunch. Usually by lunchtime, they were all fighting. Everybody goes and has their own quiet time. Okay. So that's what we did. And in this guide that you can get at the description, the link in the description, I actually have kind of a loose schedule with times for the day. I have a list of all the activities. The other thing we did, which was super helpful, was I gave her a lunch schedule. So every week I'd be on Mondays, they eat this. On Tuesdays, they eat this. On Wednesdays, they eat this. Thursdays, Fridays, it would be the same thing every week. We would change it up to where each day they'd be eating something different, which let me tell y'all, this is not serious. Mondays was sandwiches and fruit. Tuesdays was chicken nuggets and fruit. This is not rocket science, but having the set lunch schedule every day to where kids could not say, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'd be it's Monday. That means we're doing sandwiches and fruit. You can have a turkey and cheese sandwich. You can have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Wednesdays, we would do something more fun. I would do a charcuterie tray where I would make sure we had pepperoni and string cheese and cucumbers and carrots and hummus and ranch and, fruit. And they would make their little charcuterie board. Thursday, we typically did create your own recipe to where she would take them to the grocery store and they would pick out something that they wanted to make. My kids are really into cooking. And then Friday, sometimes I would do lunch out. Here's a little tip for y'all. Put gift cards in their Easter baskets or give them gift cards as a May birthday treat. And you can let them use those on Fridays. So I put Sonic or Chick-fil-A or Dairy Queen or whatever. And then on Fridays, she could take them to use their gift cards for lunch out or whatever. But I wasn't spending money every week, and they had to budget it and be okay, well, this gift card has $5, so all I can get is XYZ. And so they would do that. And sometimes they would just go get a treat if they wanted to get ice cream on a Friday or Snowball or whatever. So that is in the guide. A list of morning chores is in the guide of morning chores that I think are age appropriate, of things that your kids can help you do. Y'all, chores are so good for your kids to feel like they are contributing to the household. I tell my kids all the time that our family does not work without them helping. Like, we have to have their help in order for our family to function, in order for everything to work. So there's a list of age appropriate chores. You can download the guide. Like I said, it is free and is to help you avoid summer chaos. So I hope this video episode was helpful today as you are looking ahead, planning for summer. One of my biggest tips for you is like, start planning now. Like, don't let May get here and be like, all of a sudden be like, oh, I have nothing planned for the summer. I don't know who's watching my kids. I don't know what camps are happening. So I hope y'all use this advice today and you have a really calm, regulating, fun summer with your family.